All right. Thank you, Lauren. So, hi everyone. My name is Eileen Kaur, Head of Creative Innovation at ADA. So, in my current role, I'm overseeing a full creative stack in ADA, as well as seeing the whole transformation of how a traditional agency would work. By digitizing it or by putting in technology and data-driven solutions to the teams as well as to our clients, right? So I'm truly grateful and very honored to be invited to be part of this Malaysia Website Awards as one of the judges and to speak today in this virtual ceremony. So today I'll be sharing 5 digital and website trends of 2021. So first of all, the first trend that I would like to say is that personalization is going to be key in 2021, especially when it comes to e-commerce platforms. So what is personalization? So personalization is not just about delivering a business outcomes or not to achieve the business outcomes, but what you want your users or your audience to experience when they visit your site. What you want them to remember of the brand, and then how do you help them to look for what they want and at the same time stay relevant to each of their consumer journey. So here are some interesting stats that I have been seeing across the web recently as well, from very credible sources. So for example, 80% of shoppers, they say that they are most likely to buy when a company offers a personalized experience, and 77% of consumers would would recommend and even pay more for a brand who provides personalized services. And I'm guilty of this. And then 20% says that when it comes to the brand, when they offered a personalization service, there's a 20% increase in their sales. So then again, you ask yourself, when your personalization can start with very tricky fundamental questions in terms of where do you start personalizing, right? So look into your presence on your digital ecosystem, right? You should be having your social channels as well as your website. So look at your social channels and your touch points on your website in terms of where your consumers or your customers are interacting with the most. If you are a brand new brand, or that you are new in the market and you're just establishing yourself, you need to drive a lot of traffic to from your social channels, because that's where most of the people are, right? You need to drive them and potentially drive them to your website, the traffic to your website. So develop a social content strategy that can approach them to introduce your brand, according to the objectives that you want to achieve, right? Then on your website, build digital touch points that can then study the behaviors of the consumers and how they interact with your channel, right? Then in terms of developing a strategy, you need to constantly ask yourself, what do you want to achieve? How do you want to position your brand? What are you selling? What are your RTBs? What are your USPs, right? So from there, you develop those strategy and then build hypothesis around it to test it out. Yeah. So next would be what? What can you personalize? There are many things that you can personalize, right? Like for example, when it comes to websites, like for example, you can see a lot of e-commerce websites already have this product recommendations based on browsing histories and also purchasing behaviors. And now I would say even interfaces can be even personalized according to the user preference. Like what Waikong shared earlier, like the light mode and the dark mode. Yes, you may have those both of these sessions. That would be great because it's personalized according to what the users want to see and according to their own preference, right? Even color themes, font size, and even the text spacing on the page itself. So interfaces can change also based on the connectivity of the devices that they are logged on. So it can be platform agnostic in terms of, let's say, if I were to be seen logging in from a mobile phone and my device is the very low end, of course, you will minimize all those high tech, right, which should consume a lot of data and also a lot of bandwidth, right? So, and also you have to be personalized with a language agnostic personalization as well. So a sample of how a user personalization journey when it comes to video, for example, it can start off with how you acquire them. It can start with a, like say, a dynamic video or a dynamic ad that are personalized to their interests or to their purchasing behaviors and to what they are searching for, right? That can be in your proposition. So once you have acquired them and once you onboard them, the personalizations of your creatives can continue into your CRM communications as well. So it can be like an onboarding of them into your service or onboarding them into part of your community, or you can even upsell and cross-sell and even do a customer care via personalization. So there is many ways of doing a personalization. Maybe I can share with you a sample of a personalization video. Sorry. Let me play it. Let me know if you can hear it.
Hi there. Welcome to Vodafone. We're thrilled to have you aboard. This video helps explain your bill and other important information. We hope you're enjoying your Vodafone plan and all the great things included. With this plan, you'll get data, infinite talk and text, $5 roaming. Now let's look at your billing. Every month, you're billed in advance on this day. As this is your first bill and your service was connected on this day, there are a few days carried over onto this bill. Good news, the service for these extra days is on us, but you may still be charged for any usage during these times that's not included in your plan. Here's what your plan costs, including any extras you've added to your plan, like insurance. And this is the total of your bill this month. Bill payment is due on this day. You can pay through My Vodafone or use one of the other options shown on your bill. If you'd like more information about your bill, head to our site and search for Bill Explainer. We also recommend that you use My Vodafone to easily track your usage, see your plan costs, and access your bills. Thank you for watching. Register for My Vodafone or download the My Vodafone app today.
Okay, so now instead of receiving a bill statement, now I can, you can personalize it by sending me a video that is according to my to what I'm being charged for. So this is a sample video of personalization. So in terms of how do you start with personalization is that you need to gather enough data to understand your consumers' behavior. Where are they and where are they being seen? Then again, like what Susilan mentioned earlier, that real-time customer support is very important. So you need to adopt tools, technologies like artificial intelligence or even with machine learning capabilities to help you with real-time assistance and in terms of recommendations and also personalizing the whole user-oriented shopping experience when they come into your platform, right? So then when you say that, okay, how do I achieve that? At the same time, like the sample that I showed you earlier, how do I, if I have 300,000 of consumers on board onto my service, how do I personalize those videos? It's going to be crazy. You're going to kill your creative agencies, and I don't think and you're going to charge you a bomb. So what you're going to do is that automation will be a very crucial in terms of adopting this personalization for your business. So that leads us to the trend number 2, which is creative automation. So creative automation is a use of technology or a tech platform to help you do repetitive actions to produce high volumes of creative. So it allows you to scale up your creative content or your creative offerings or your creative communications to be adaptable or to be responsive to all the agnostic platforms that you are on, and also to speed up in terms of your communications. When you roll out, like for example, if you have a PR event or to address something and you need to speed up and ensuring that your creatives are speaking to all the audience across all channels, you can also with a creative automation you can do that. And also because it's a lot, and with the use of tech, you are going to make it very affordable as well. So the purpose of creative automation can be also for 3 purposes, which is for performance, to drive performance, to drive sales results for your businesses, and also for you to scale up in terms of your content production as well, and also for the CRM, like the ones that you saw earlier, right? So all in all, it's also crucial to see when it comes to your performance marketing, right? Like when you do automation, it's not just about the creative, it's also about how it's being served to your consumers as well on your social channels. So imagine if I have one, it is no longer the time where you have one ad or one visual specific to all your audience, right? It can be one USP as a product, and yet you can speak to different gender, or even of different people of different interests, of different people of different personas. So you can see here in a sample on the screen here is that, for example, Nike, right? Easy to sell Nike because it's a sports brand, but you can sell sports brand to so many different people. It can be a male that is interested in basketball and is located in New York City, right? So what you need to do is, of course, you need to show a visual of a male with a basketball, right? And when you talk, for example, on the right hand here, and you're speaking to a woman in Paris who is a gym goer, of course, you have to then serve them with a creative that is in French, right? So all this personalizations and can be achieved via automation, whether is it the creative of it being rendered and also when it's being served. So the third trend that I'm looking at is actually video content. Video content is going to be, I would say, it's increasing. As we can see, with the whole pandemic, if everyone's sitting at home, the users or the audience behaviors have changed as well. As you can see now on the latest stat, YouTube itself, they have 2 billion of active users on YouTube, and 500 hours of videos are being uploaded to the platform every minute, right? If you calculate this, right, which is equivalent to 720,000 hours. And if you divide that out, that's equivalent to 82.2 years of new video updated to YouTube every single day. So, and also when you look at the video viewing behaviors of across globally as well, you are looking at 1 billion hours of YouTube views per day, and that is even higher than Facebook and Netflix combined. Yeah. So then when it comes to consumers' behaviors, again, 90% of consumers also claim that their buying decision is also influenced by a video they watch, right? And that when it comes to, in terms of the content performance that we're observing here in the agency, is that when we produce a video content, it garners 12 times more engagement on all the social channel platforms versus a static visual. So in terms of when you have more engagement, it means that will have more impressions. You're able to reach out to more people, and then it will help you to drive higher brand visibility. So then again, when it comes to websites, it also, in an article shared by Forbes, it is also claimed that, when you have a video on your landing page, that can also help increase your conversions by 80%. Yeah. So what you need to do is that, first of all, you need to develop a video content marketing strategy. So you need to understand your brand storytelling, curate content that can help you build emotional connections with your audience, test out your strategy. And like what Sam shared earlier in terms of content, you need to create those buckets, like how do you get the audience to know you better, like your brand, trust your brand, and then and ultimately convert them. So you need to have that strategy, and also always do A/B testing in your content. And because we're in a digital space, everything moves very fast, right? So it allows you, it gives you the opportunity to test things out and to experiment with different things. Yeah. And also the second one is to making sure that your content is inspirational and informative. So as you can see, in 2020, with all the lockdowns that are happening, people are actually getting more experimental, right? Like they start to do Dalgona coffee, which I tried and I failed, right? And I've went and Googled a lot of videos about it, like and ultimately it was just the part where I understand it's because of the beans and of the sugar that I use. So I don't take sugar with my coffee, so it was never a success for me. So then again, it's all those things, right? People are actually looking for inspirational and informative content. So ensure that you have video content that are relative to that, as well as that is hygiene enough that people would search for it, right? So, and then thirdly is that video content production is always being seen as very expensive, right? People are not doing it a lot because it's expensive. But what I can tell you today is that it can be very affordable, right? All you need to do is to just look in the tools that are available out there analytic tools, content analytic tools, or video analytic tools that can help you to understand what kind of content actually resonates better with your audience, what kind of content actually works for your brand, and then understand a little bit with the use of AI and machine learning, allows those tools to recommend some contents and insights that you can leverage on to build those contents. Okay, so then again, trend number 4 would be touchless interactions, right? With the whole COVID and with and the whole situation again, I think touchless interactions is going to be key in 2021. So as we all know, in the UI and UX, this has been actually available, or it has been there for many years, right? Especially voice interactions. But I think what we can see is that instead of just digital transformation, it also have expedite the adoption of touchless interaction, especially in your voice interaction, right? Air gestures, like back into those eras, or when where you have those dancing machines, where you have those air gestures dancing to Para Para Sakura songs, or even using the Nintendo Switch, where you have the device in your hand and you interact with it. That is also air gestures control, right? So now you can see that how can we adopt this into the tech platform? How do we change the interaction while just by moving my hand across the screen, or instead of me touching the screen, now I can swipe it just with a hand gesture. So all in all, the immersive experience of bringing it to the audience through the screens or through the mobile phones, through your tablet, it will be enhanced. Like for example, AR has been there for many years, right? Augmented reality. I think it was way when I was even in uni. That was like 2010, 2007. So, and I've been talking about augmented reality back then, and it's still the same technology, but the adoption rate has increased, for the last few years, especially this year as well. And when people are not able to go to retail store, now you bring that experience to them. So immersive experience will going to continue in 2021. Then data-driven approaches. So data-driven approaches, like you say that people are very prudent, or brands and business like ourselves, you have to be very careful in every dollar that you spend, right? And because of the pandemic, because of the uncertainties, is the economy opening up, or are we doing a lockdown again? All this is very crucial in terms of how we react to people and also to the economy situation, right? So you need to have a data-driven approach. So that allows you to understand a bit more about what's ongoing, and also to understand and to tap into the consumers' behaviors that are changing rapidly. So you need to look at tools or data from tools like social listening or social analytics to allow you to do a brand and comparative analysis. Then you need to look into your consumers' behaviors, the demographics, their behaviors and the interests of how they interact with your brands, and also of course the trends that are ongoing. So when you create the content, it's not just about building content that talks about your product, but you also need to build content that are tapping into the cultural nuances, local nuances, and build brand relevancy to that. You don't need to be hard sell, but you need to be something that is trending. So for example, recently I worked with a client, and it was during lockdown, right? They want to introduce a new product, and we can't go out there and shoot the production. So what we did was we ride on the trends, because it was in December when we launched the product. So what we did was we look into what are the sentiments, what are people talking about on the digital space. Then we developed videos content based on the what are people searching for, and that helps you to create visibility. It's not just about putting out or increasing your SEO on your website, but now your content can help you to drive that SEO or make it search relevant to your consumers out there as well. Okay, so that would sort of summarize the 5 digital and web trends of 2021. Happy to take any questions.
All right, so we have one that came in, and this question is, where do you get the latest trends?
Where do I get the latest trends? I think it would be the 5th trend that I shared earlier. right? You need to look in, you have to go online, you need to look into the tools, like you have social listening, for example. I with my clients, we have social listening, right? We look into what are people talking about, like what are the conversations are happening, or even you can go into the Google search, right, to look at what are people searching for, the trends, or even you go to YouTube platform, there's the YouTube video trends as well. So basically you can get inspired from a lot of tools and tech tools out there. Yeah.
All right. So the following question to that, because you already the next question was how do you justify these trends, and I think you've already answered that already. So let's dismiss that. The next question following that is, do your trends are they only consistent, or do they only consist to a regional basis? I believe that's what the person is trying to ask. Or do they
Okay, I
only
think
apply to a regional basis? Yeah.
to region based. Okay, is it based on the locations the question is trying to ask? I would say trends definitely varies in different markets, right? For example, when we are trying to roll out certain things like Martech solutions and even some data-driven approaches, in some markets, the adoption rate can be slower because of the budget, cost constraints and all that. But in some markets, because there's a demand for it, right? For example, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Thailand, and even in Indonesia, because the consumers are more tech savvy, and we adopt technology very fast, and we are more consumer are, I would say, smarter. Hence, the trends would be very varied or very different to markets like in Cambodia or in Myanmar, or in even in parts of the Vietnam.
Absolutely, and of course, I think like a good example would just be Malaysia and Singapore. You can cross one strait, and there's just such a big difference. So thank you for answering that. We'll take one more. Now, this one is in the chat actually. Now, this one comes from Nazim. So the question is, "Hi, Eileen, very insightful presentation. Thank you. I wonder if you have any marketing pointers for brands that are exclusively B2B, and what they can do better to win tenders."
Wow, B2B. I think working in an agency is definitely I would say something that I would say a B2B as well, right? So I think ensuring that whatever that you offer benefits both parties, right? When we work with brands, when we work with businesses, it's all about helping each other. We don't see each other as a client or agency kind of relationship, but more of a partnership relationship, and see how we can leverage on each other's tech and understanding to build that success, the partnership to be a success one.
Okay, thank you. Eileen, we're going to wrap things up right now so we can move forward. But thank you so much. It has always been, so fun to talk to you. Every time you come on screen, I have a good time with you as well. And it's very nice to see you again after all this time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'll see you soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.